Hi everyone, this is Lola Chef again. Today I just wanted to speak on this huge trending topic. It's trending everywhere. Everyone's been talking about it. I was just gonna let it, just kind of die out because, same story, different person, different day. But some more things have kind of developed, and I had to jump on and say something. So welcome everyone. I'm going to start off at the top of the video. I'm going to ask you nicely, do like, comment and subscribe. So as you're watching it, hit the like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already. So we're talking about Derrick Jaxn today. It's been going on, I don't know if it's up to a week or not. How did it start? So let's start from the top. So Derrick Jaxn, who is he? Most females who live in the States and probably elsewhere know that he is not a trained psychologist, but just fancied himself to give women advice about relationships and, if he's not that into you, blah, 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 all those kind of things. And, caught some, some motion and some, after a while he did have, lots of videos. He'd have like these 6-7 minute videos, sometimes 4-minute videos on YouTube that he typically would record in his car and talk about relationships. And a lot of the information wasn't inaccurate information, it was real information. And I think after that, maybe he did some books. I don't know if he did tours and the other stuff, but I know I'm very familiar with a lot of the videos he would do online, although probably in the last year they'd slowed down. But I guess this whole story kind of explains why those videos slowed down. So back to begin. So we know who Derrick Jaxn is. He's always, he's geared towards females, and he's typically telling us, how to spot, a guy who's not into you, and if he's not into you, we need to have self-worth and move on, blah, blah, the regular story. Like, he's just like I don't want to call him a knockoff Steve Harvey, but, I guess there's a whole little niche there for men kind of, snitching on their boys who are dogs. But apparently, I guess with this new turn of events, he was snitching on himself, but we didn't know. So I don't know if I knew he was always in a relationship, but after a while I knew he was in a relationship. I didn't even know he was married. How about that? But apparently he's in a long-term relationship with his wife. I think her name is Danaia. And I think she says they've been together on and off for about 11 years, since she was 19. And apparently, now don't quote me on this, I think they got married sometime in 2018. Something like that. So anyway, going back to the, fast forward. So we know he's been married, and, well, at least we didn't know he was married, but apparently he was married, was in a relationship, whatever it was. But this story now begins. 3/19, the 21st. So March 19th, first of all, of 2021. Tasha K, everyone knows Tasha K is if you're on YouTube, this big, she doesn't spill tea. She drinks wine and talks about tea. But anyway, she'd had some, some information from someone who had some kind of something going on. They'd had some entanglement. Yeah, I like that word. Let's use that word. So, this lady who had some kind of entanglement with him. They had this entanglement, I want to say it was last year. Something between last year and the year prior. And I guess she'd known of him. They knew each other apparently online, had been talking. Anyway, the long and short of the story is that he ghosted her early last year, maybe when he and his wife reconciled, because at the time when she met him, she said that he had told her that they were getting a divorce and they were separated. So when she came to see him, she flew in, they stayed in his house. The wife wasn't there, but pictures and everything were there, like, someone had lived there. And at that time he had told her that, you know what, me and my wife are getting divorced, blah, blah, blah. So, they kind of had this back and forth thing. And then as soon as it started, and then just like that, it ended. It wasn't like a conversation per her story. Now, of course, there is her story, his story, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. So we're just gonna go with her timeline of events. So on the 19th, she's kind of speaking to Tasha K on the phone. Tasha K is like sending all the information, this, that. So it looks like, okay, this guy who's like the relationship guru and who is married, apparently was in a relationship of some sort or some entanglement with this lady. That was the 19th. I guess we all kind of heard that. Nothing happened. Then I think by the 20th or the 21st, you know, Derrick, I think 21st maybe, 20th or 21st, Derrick, you know, goes online, says somebody he's going to address it, but somebody peddles some books online. I'm not mad at him. That's how he eats, right? So now he's worried about his brand, because his brand is about, you know, enlightening the females, telling us what's up, telling us what to look out for, and it turns out he's what we need to look out for. So at this point for me, before I go into the rest of the information, talk about what he did and what he didn't do, is, yeah, I knew of him, watched his videos, and that pretty much was the scope of it. And I've always been I always kind of stand by the thing where you don't put anyone on a pedestal, you know, this pedestal. You don't put even a pastor on a pedestal. Who else? You just, because they're human. The truth is, if you're not Jesus Christ or God or the Holy Spirit, you're human. And so perfection is unfamiliar with you. You can never be perfect. But we do have this tendency sometimes when we meet someone we're enamored with, or someone we like the way they speak, we like what they're doing, we have a tendency to put them on that pedestal and say, you know, or just maybe automatically, or, you know, we just tend to put them up there and like assume that they can do no wrong. And I guess the assumption in this case with this gentleman here is that we assumed that he was practicing what he preached, and maybe he was giving us the lowdown on what his friends were doing or what guys he knew would do. We had no idea he was giving us the lowdown, not on his past, but on his present and what he was doing. Because as the story's been unfolding, it's been a trending topic. As the story's been unfolding, it's been said that, you know, he's had numerous relationships. And even with the conversation he had with his wife, the wife did say at one point where she says, she had told him, I think this was the year before, prior, like 2019, because I think she came back 2019, sometime in 2019, she had told him, if you cheat on me again, I'm leaving. And so that means he's cheated before. So this is not the first time. And he did, and then she left, and there was some kind of, you know, reunion that happened in 2020 around the time. This lady that first blew the whistle says when he just kind of ghosted her. So that means cut off social media and this and that. There was no way to contact him. And so I guess, you know, woman scorn is, you know, is not someone you can keep in a bottle. So Tasha K has now released the story. And so next thing ensues, Derrick comes on with his wife. You've never seen his wife before. How about him? You know, at the time, I think sometime I might have known he had a wife. I wondered maybe he's hiding her because she's not a black lady, and his market or his niche is black females. So maybe he was trying to hide that. I thought that might be why. We didn't know what she looked like or who she was and how they'd not done anything together. So it comes on the video. They have the video. And, you know, watching the video, he acknowledges that he did wrong. And, you know, it's nobody's fault. It's not something she did. I mean, he's checking all the boxes. You know, it's my fault. I've done this. He just went through his whole little list of, you know, all the things he should have done but didn't do. But then he kind of, you know, came back to himself and really thought about, you know, what needed to be done, got right with himself, you know, redeveloped, or maybe he didn't have one, but anyway, got closer to God and was able to mend himself and realize his wrongs. And, you know, pretty much the two of them were agreeing at this point that if not for God, that their relationship would not have survived, because yes, she had left with their children and she had filed. So with this video, the first video anyway, Miss Jackson, or Mrs. Jackson, forgive me, Mrs. Jackson is sitting there and she's talking. I can see her mouth moving, but her eyes, I can't tell you what they look like, but in my, you know, my impression of her is this is a woman who's been wounded. She's talking and saying the words, you know, she's like, you know, he's asking her, he's almost like coaching her, but in front of us, like, yeah, so tell us, so who wanted to do this? Like, oh yeah, I wanted. Anyway, it seemed like she was being coached in order to, because at this point, they're both eating off what he's selling, so she's trying to help him save his kingdom. But even with that, you know, body language and your eyes speak louder than words. Words are merely things that come out through our lips. mean nothing. You can say anything, but it's harder, particularly if you don't have a background in acting, for your eyes and the way you carry yourself and your spirit to say otherwise. And so she's saying one thing, but Buddy's saying another. Her eyes look, yes, a camera, but they look dead. She's a very attractive woman. If you go to her IG, you'll see she's an attractive woman, but she's kind of let herself, just like, my appearance means nothing, and she's coming for a live. We've never seen her before, you know. Even in that situation, most females would, you know, I think, would do something, and she comes on with, you know, this beret or hair bonnet. I don't know what it was, black. She's wearing all black at the time, and not that she needs to wear makeup or anything, but she just looked like, not like she rolled out of bed, like she'd been trampled on, like, and it's not so much the look, but her spirit. Her spirit just seemed deflated. The essence was gone. You know, sometimes when you go for like a weight keeping, when you see someone, a loved one who's died and they're laying in the coffin, you see them, but the person you know is not in there. And that's what, I don't know her, but it just didn't, I couldn't see. I saw someone, but couldn't see a spirit or a sense of who this is. Because sometimes you'll look at someone and try and read and see what's going on behind the words. Because if you're coming on, you're here to read me a script. You're here to sell me a story. You're here to convince me of your narrative. You're here to make me see what you want me to see. And that's it. But most of us as educated consumers, we want to look at the other facts behind it all. And looking at her, I could only see the words coming out of her mouth. There was nothing else. It seemed like she was dead in the inside. And I'm getting, my impression of this is that she's been through this and back. She's been to hell and back, and it's just another story, another thing. So yes, it's apparent that she probably knew of what was going on when they reconciled, yeah, but it's, you know, it's probably been like this repeated actions that have broken her down, because the quickest way to break a woman down when you're in a relationship is to have these indiscretions that just come back and explode in your face. And particularly when you see your husband is selling, I won't say he's selling dreams, but he's selling the image of what he really isn't. I'm not going to go ahead and, you know, kind of call him a narcissist or anything, because some traits don't follow. He's apologized, he's done this, but I don't know. I'm not in a relation with him, and we know he's selling a picture. But yeah, you know what, I look at her and I guess I wanted to do this video because I was thinking about her more so than him. Will his brand survive this? I don't know. You know, for some reason Americans love a good comeback story. They do. And he has a book apparently about surviving something, which I think he's saying he wrote about their relationship, and he really talking about it. Like when you go to his YouTube, he has it in the little description, 50% off. So he's selling books. You need to stash up his money. So will his, you know, brand survive? I don't know if his brand will survive. That's left to be seen. But her, more importantly, what's gonna happen to her? So I'll go on with her. So going through, you know, the story, she wants to establish to us that she left because he had done it again. And she only returned because she felt like he had changed. You know, that journey he said he had taken when he got close to God now, you know, seemed revealed to her, and he had a shift in his mentality, a shift in his spirit. So they keep talking about the old marriage and the new marriage. Or, I mean, I think they just married 2018, so I don't know how long the new marriage or the old marriage was, but like, you know, I feel paperwork was signed in 2018, so notwithstanding anyway. So when they talk about the relationship, they always make reference of, to our new marriage. Okay, so we leave it to that. So another video he did after, but this one he did by himself, and he did that, I want to say that was on the 23rd, a day after their relationship, you know, their togetherness video. He had been goaded, which is why these are some things where you might think that, are these some narcissistic tendencies, or this particularly, because we all kind of express some of these things, you know, but this part where someone said, why don't you review your own video? And Brown Man decided to review the video. Sir, you might need, you know, some PR right now. This is where you need a publicist to give you good advice. push back, switch off your camera, sit back. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, he goes ahead, like what he usually does when he reviews videos, he'll play a clip of it and then do it. So our guy, Mr. Jackson, this is what he does. He plays like a 3-minute part of the video and then begins to sell a narrative to us for us to buy and chew onto it. And that part's a little concerning because we've heard all these things, we've heard details, and I know, he's probably watched what Tasha K has put out there. And he's now telling us how, trying to sell us. So he sees how his wife looked. He confesses that she looked initially uncomfortable, but then now tries to sell to us that when you keep watching, you realize that, oh, that's her personality. She's not really someone who goes for the camera. Okay. Then he goes on to say that, this gentleman, describe myself in third person, so I don't have any problem with the third person stuff because I'm guilty too. I talk about Lola all the time. They say what Lola's going to do and what Lola won't do. So that's not the thing I have a problem with. He goes on to talk about how, Derrick Jaxn is going to have to do a lot to rebuild the broken trust, both in his relationship and with his, the people, I don't know if you want to call his fans, his, people that, the Jacksonites, let's call them the Jacksonites. Anyway, so he's going to have to do a lot of work to restore the faith that, people had in him prior, mainly females. And then it's just, pretty that leaves the video. So the long and short, that video I got from him was him just trying to sell us a narrative, and I think it's a little is putting it least arrogant of him to think that he can use his video and sell a narrative to us like there isn't something else that he needs to be done at this point. He needs to quit while he's ahead. But it doesn't stop there. His wife, Mrs. Jackson, and she's the one I have concern for. She's done even when you look at her Instagram account, she's got a lot of, passages and da. So the first video, she decides to address, us talking about her appearance. And she's talking about how she doesn't really care and this, and she's here to battle, that she's battling against principalities and powers, not against a man. And you know what I see? I see a woman who's going through something, and like most of us who are Christians, when we're really going through it, go back, start talking to God. And she's rolling her past, she's waking up, she's probably waking up in the middle of the night, praying naked, standing over a Bible, standing on top of a Bible. And he's put her through it. And that's what it looks like. That's what I see. I mean, at the end of the first little segment, it's like 5 or 6 minutes, she's, condemning tongues that speak against them. He says, we're not speaking against you. I think most of us are looking at you. I don't have a problem with your husband. I didn't have him on a pedestal. I just think he needs to push back from the desk and switch off his computer for a little while. But with you, I feel nothing for him. I'm not angry at him. I'm not mad at him. I'm not disappointed because I didn't really appoint him to be disappointed. So I really have no judgment against it because he's a man. Am I saying that all men cheat? I'm not saying that. But is there a likelihood? There is. So, you'll see a lot of males who are rejoicing, and I think that's a little, I don't know the word I should use for that, but it's immature. Yeah, it's really immature. I think it's a little immature to rejoice at someone's downfall, even though he has done wrong, he has sold or represented himself incorrectly, but really, one sin is not better than the other. We're all liars. We've all lied. We all will lie. Lies continue. That's how the world goes round, based on a lot of lies. So I can't judge him for being a liar and a cheat. I just feel bad for the woman who's been entangled in this deceit. And maybe other females who might have been entangled. They're the ones I feel for, but don't hate the player, hate the game. Isn't that what they say? I have no problem against him. It's just Ms. Jackson. Mrs. Jackson I feel for. And so she's the one that kind of led me to kind of talk about this, because I do have some compassion for looking at this woman. I don't want to say AKA Paige, but I don't know. I don't know the story enough to say that she had the spirit of Paige in her. I don't know. But anyway, when you look at Instagram, you know, she's got like just, you know, passages. Second video she has that she does, I'm not sure if she did it live or it was pre-recorded. I think that was done today. Sis is in camouflage, like she would fight. And you know, she just, the video was like, God, 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 God. Hey, believe in God too. But it's still, I feel like she's spending time to convince us that of her decision. I'm not judging her for staying, because I don't know her story. I don't know what happens behind closed doors. I don't know. And I know they have 2 children. A woman knows when she's had enough. It's not left for me to tell her if she's had enough. But she's spending a lot of time and energy trying to convince us that she's fighting. And she's setting a good example for others who too need to do this fight. And I think your fight should be private. You don't need to convince me, because I'm neither here nor there about the whole thing. I have compassion for you and wish you the best and hope God can guide you and give you the spirit of discernment and protect you and your children. And if he wants you and Ms.D Jackson to stay together, then so be it. I have no dog in this fight, but I just hate to see another woman like myself in pain and going through it. Like when a woman wears that pain on her face, she's going through it, because the truth is, sisters out there, going through something is just like in that, you know, it's nothing new. We go through something and keep doing what we do, like that. But she's going through it, and she's like weighed down. Her spirit is on the ground, so she's past the stage of going through it. She's on another realm of going through it, and so that's what really affects me with her. And so yeah, so she's trying to sell us this story about, you know, she's doing the right thing. Her, you know, her shirt, her camouflage shirt was, you know, the breastplate of righteousness, the helmet, the beret. Now she's got that, she had the little beret back on. Guys, I feel for her. And I think even Tasha K has been talking about how she has compassion for this woman. Like, Tasha K is like a dog with a bone. And part of it is apparently she'd had something similar like this in the past, a story maybe a couple years ago. And she says one of the people who wanted to step forward was a little scared and didn't. And because of that, she became a topic of one of Derrick's videos. I don't know, I don't remember, I don't recall. I don't know if I even saw the video. And so she's had it in her bonnet since then. Like, you try and make me alive? I'll show you, son. My name's Tasha K. You know, this is part of that, like another part that makes me, she's the kind of person you want on your team. She's not the one you want to fight against. So Tasha K does seem to have some compassion for her. So you know what our sister did? Sister K this morning? She sent out, like, I don't know if it was Instagram or if it was Twitter. She given him 24 hours to confess to his wife and the rest of us, because there's more. Tasha. I think his wife has been through it all. But so that's what's going on right now. She gave him a deadline that he needs to confess, or she's going to pull it out herself. So you know what? The long and short of this for me is, I see a man, he's just a man. And you see pastors who are spirit-filled and anointed for, how much less a man who at best has a spotty connection. And that's just me observing, a spotty connection with the Almighty. Am I going to judge him? Can he redeem himself? God is God. God can do anything. But his wife, you know, and as females, you know, how do we come through this and survive? But her story is not unusual. There's a Danaia Jackson somewhere right now, but maybe her husband isn't as well known as hers is. So I just want to say, as a woman and all the other women, we're all kind of surrounding you. You know how in church, when you have someone in the circle and you all kind of pray in agreement, I'm in agreement with you that God will show you the best way to go. If that's with him, then that's with him. But you've been through it. I hope this is the bottom. There's nowhere else to fall, because this is, I want you to rise out of the ashes like Mel, you know? Because right now it feels like this story is coming out like a reality, you know, reality show. Like it's the gift that keeps giving for bloggers. But when you look at the people involved, he might be going through something, but he caused it. But she's definitely going through something, and that, you know, in some adverse way will also affect the kids. They'll know something's going on. So I wish the Lord's peace over her. And I'll just kind of stay on this because I hope, you know, it's kind of be a situation where we hope that people will learn from this, because the truth is this keeps happening. So it's not really a situation where you can say someone should learn from it, because everyone's story is different. But with the parties involved, Ms.D Jackson, she needs prayers more than anything else, because, you know, there's that trending little jokes like, you know, blink 3 times if you need help. You know, jokes aside, she needs our prayers. So wherever you are watching this video, take a second and just pray for Ms. Danaia Jackson, that God will really guide her path and give her strength and give her wisdom and a discerning spirit. She's been with this, I feel that's all, he's all she knows. So she doesn't know anything else. Because when you look further down along, you scroll through her IG page, when you see a younger version of herself, it's different from who we've seen in the last 3 days. So I just want to end this video with, you know, I think us as females, we really need to begin to uplift each other. I can't even address, I don't know, what should I call them? The ladies who he's entangled with, because the truth is, it was his responsibility to respect his vows and not theirs. But we do have also, as females, have to have a consciousness of what is and what isn't. I mean, although we're told that he'd been lying to these people that he was single or separated, but we know sometimes people know and they still proceed. So let's just begin, let's all as females just gather ourselves and do better for ourselves and for our sisterhood. Anyway guys, that's really all I'm gonna say about this. I have nothing to say about Ms.D Jackson. My spirit is more for Mrs. Jackson. But as we come to the end, once again guys, I'd love you to like this video before you click off, comment and subscribe. If there's more to this story that feels meaningful other than just spilling tea, and there's more to twist on, maybe learn from in terms of Mr. Jackson, I'll definitely come and update. But for now, Laura, and out. Thank you guys.